the Assistant Attorney General of the Department of Justice, Aaron REITZ, who's joining us. But he's got a little bit of news today regarding that very title. Aaron, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jack.
All right, so break it down for us. You announced this a little bit earlier today. What's the news?
Yeah, so last night I submitted my resignation to the President of the United States and the Attorney General in my position as Assistant Attorney General of the Office of Legal Policy at the Justice Department. But it's not because I'm in retreat or moving on to something else that's less significant for our country. But I'm stepping out today, effective today, and announcing my candidacy as the next Texas Attorney General of Texas to succeed Ken Paxton.
Well, this is huge. Now, walk me through this a little bit, because there's a bit of musical chairs going on here, because Ken Paxton is the current Attorney General of Texas, but he is expected to run in primary as the Senate candidate against John Cornyn.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Look, Ken Paxton has been our great Attorney General for over a decade in Texas. And he's decided to throw his hat into the ring to primary John Cornyn for the United States Senate, representing 31 million Texans, which provides Texans with a unique opportunity that they haven't had in over a decade to introduce or elect a new Texas AG. And I think that when Texans are looking at who ought to carry on Ken Paxton's legacy, it's somebody who, like me, the president described as a true MAGA attorney and a warrior for the Constitution. And the reason why he called me those things when he brought me to the Justice Department is because of the 3 years that I spent fighting alongside Ken Paxton as his deputy, and then the 2 years that I spent fighting alongside Senator Ted Cruz as his chief of staff. And folks want to know, folks in Texas want to know, okay, if Ken Paxton is going to vacate the AG seat, we want to make sure that we can turn the keys over to somebody who can handle an office with that kind of horsepower. And I think when folks look at my background, the litigation, lawsuits, appeals, defenses, investigations on all of the issues that Texans care about, from election integrity, border security, woke corporations, transing of the kids, environmental overreach. I have borne battle scars on all of those issues. And so when Texans are looking for somebody that they can trust, somebody that they can say, okay, this guy needs to be our next Attorney General to continue pressing hard on the gas that Ken Paxton, on the course that he's put us on, Aaron REITZ is the guy. And if you want to know more about me, your viewers can go to aaronreitz.com, AARONREITZ.com.
Well, Aaron, this is huge news. Congratulations on the candidacy. Have to ask you first and foremost, though, when it comes to the issue, illegal immigration. Obviously, this is a huge issue for Texas. It's an issue where AG Paxton has stood in the breach, and it's an issue that is really uniting, I think, a lot of Americans in the face of all of these riots that we've been seeing, kicked off in L.A., then it spread to New York, it spread to Philadelphia, and in fact, just last night, we saw Dallas and San Antonio had a level of violent riots as well. So response to the riots in particular, and then a general response on illegal immigration in this issue.
Yeah, look, it's a great question, and it's an important issue. A lot of times people think that the scenes that we've seen in Los Angeles couldn't possibly be happening in Texas. But as you rightly said, and folks can just do an image search for the riots that are happening in Texas's major cities, they'd be shocked to see that the roots of anti-American insurrectionist, pro-alien ideological rioting is happening right in the Lone Star State. You need an attorney general who is going to help crack down on that sort of thing, who's going to make sure that the ideologies as well as the funding that provides the resources for these rioters doesn't take root in Texas. And once we identify them, we prosecute them, we investigate them, we expose them, we get them out of the state. On the question more generally, though, of illegal immigration, I'm with you during your opening monologue. I'd like to see mass repatriation of millions and millions and millions of illegal aliens that have been invading our country, in particular over the past 4 years, but it's been a problem for decades. And so I love to see what this administration is doing doing to identify, round up, and deport or to repatriate those illegal aliens, just get them back home where they ought to be. And the Texas Attorney General plays a critical role in this. And I will tell you, Jack, at the very beginning of the Biden administration, if it's any reflection of the kind of AG I'll be on the issue of immigration, Ken Paxton and I partnered together for 3 years, and out of the nearly 50 lawsuits that I brought with him during my time in the Texas AG's office, nearly 20 of those 50 were on immigration and border security. We litigated on abuse of the parole system, on abuse of the asylum system, canceling of border wall contracts, sanctuary cities, and the list just keeps going on and on and on. I've been at the front lines of fighting illegal immigration at the Texas AG's office before, alongside Senator Cruz, and my commitment to Texans moving forward is to continue to partner with this Trump administration to absolutely get our country and our sovereignty and our border back under control. And you don't just have to take my word for it. Texans just have to look at my record, which is in greater detail at my website, REITZ.com.
Aaron, yesterday we had a long discussion with the congressman on HPSI regarding the cartels and this cartel activity. Obviously, as Attorney General, this is something that we know that the cartels operate on both sides of the border. What is your policy on that? How would you look to crack down on these cartels, the rat lines, the human trafficking, the fentanyl, which we know, as great as President Trump has done, a lot of this is still going on?
Yeah, no question. I mean, you use a critical term, Jack, on having control of both sides of the border. I think a lot of Americans, we hear this term, the cartels have operational control of the border, and they don't really fully visualize what that means. What that means is that ingress and egress in and out of the country, whether you are moving for commercial purposes, quote unquote legitimate commercial purposes, or illicit purposes, drug trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, it means that you don't come in and you don't come out with the either express or implied permission of the cartels. Now, these cartels have spread, their nodes have spread into all of the major cities of Texas. So what the Attorney General can do is partner with aligned sheriff departments and police departments to launch extremely invasive investigations into where these cartel cells are taking root, and then assist the local law enforcement in prosecuting these crimes. The Attorney General also has tremendous civil discretion to investigate these nonprofits that are aiding and abetting the illegal invasion of our country. You know, all these nicely named nonprofits that are presenting themselves as just innocuous and humanitarian. These organizations are taking Soros and Soros-adjacent money to assist the invasion of millions of illegal aliens, and they want to pat themselves on the back for being forces of good, when in reality, they're forces for evil. And you need an Attorney General who knows what he's doing, who can take the weapons of legitimate statutes and law and common law to investigate them and root them out and hold them to justice.